Good morning. I would have to say that, things are very frustrating right now for me. I'm still eating off plan, and it's not as extreme, but I am not wanting to deal with life otherwise, I guess. It just feels so raw whenever I start to get on plan. And that's just part of the truth of it. So I'm really confronting this continued theme, which is I want recovery when I'm in the midst of the food, but when I'm not, I don't. Um, and I think that's largely because recovery means feeling the feelings and just facing my reality, which I guess isn't terrible, but right now I don't like it. And so there's a lot of uncertainty, a lot of feeling like morally shamed around a lot of things, not knowing what my direction is in life, having desires, but then thinking that they're bad because they're selfish. And so there's just a lot of crap that comes up when I put down the food. And so as a result, I dive into the food. And I did read a while ago that, basically if sober life isn't better than drunk life, then what's the point? And I think that right now I'm just asking that God reveal sober life as an enjoyable thing and show me how to live that and to trust that that's okay and that it's not selfish. So that's been coming up. But I'm trying something new today. The Eating Disorders Anonymous literature is something that I came across a while ago, and I liked it because it wasn't as, I don't know how to describe it exactly. Basically, it's focused on recovering from an eating disorder rather than an identity as the eating disorder or an identity as a diseased person. And so it's really a focus more on balance than it is on abstinence. And with that, I would say that for me, like, if I don't have some sort of plan in mind and a way to know that I'm following it, then that gets a little gray for me. And I hate to admit that because I want to be able to just be like, whatever. But that is part of my truth. So I'm returning to the literature, and something that someone did a long time ago that was a helpful suggestion was to basically just read like one paragraph a day. I have such a tendency, I've got like 5 self-help books probably either on my bed or next to my bed, and I'm constantly looking for the solution and whatever is going to ease me in the moment, and that's not been so helpful. I mean, that's been how it's been most of my life, and I'm still confused. So perhaps the answer lies more in living life than it does in reading someone else's words about what they think it is to live life. With that said, if I was to read just a paragraph every day and sort of reflect on it, then I think that it could be helpful to just sort of slowly pull these thoughts in and see where they sit with me. Because I do realize that I'm powerless over this situation at this point, and I still don't like to admit that, but I mean, the truth is, like yesterday afternoon, I wanted food, I had food. There was no higher me that was like, well, wait a minute, let's not. I thought that, but no, it wasn't happening. So at this point, I don't have access to that power or that will. So, chapter 2 is where kind of the solution starts, and this is modeled very similarly to the AA 12 or the AA Big Book. So it's actually the very beginning of this chapter 2. There is a solution. We, the members of Eating Disorders Anonymous, have found a solution to the problem of our eating disorders. We who were once very alone, miserable, and hopeless are now happy, joyous, and free. We are eager to share with you what worked for us. Though we are normal folks in most respects, we are not united by the things that commonly bind people together. We share no common political or religious position, and we come from all walks of life. Every ethnicity, gender, and sexual orientation can be found among us. We are young and old, muscular and frail, affluent and far from it, and our eating disorders were as varied as we are. Some of us binged until very severely obese. Some of us starved until very severely underweight. Others appeared normal while engaged in very abnormal eating practices. Some of us experienced only one type of eating disorder, while others adopted various patterns over time. What joins us together is not our illness. Our eating disorders drove us away from the people who loved us the most. The bond we share is a common problem, a seeming inability to regain health and sanity on the basis of self-knowledge and desire alone, coupled with a common solution, the 12 steps of EDA. So, in this, for me, I think what really kind of stood out is that I really like that it says we are normal folks in most respects. In other literature, there's such a focus on I am not a normal eater. I am not, kind of almost I'm not a normal person because I have this identity. And this literature says, no, we're human and we're pretty normal in a lot of ways, but when it comes to this area of our lives, it's severely abnormal and out of sync with what would be healthy. And so that bleeds into the rest of my life, though. And that's something that I'm kind of in denial of. I really don't think it's affecting me all that much, even though a lot of days I spend a lot of time by myself numbed out on food, and so there's a very real disconnect there. I definitely could relate to there being several different versions of my eating disorder. I purged for over a decade and definitely finally had that lifted, which is amazing. And yet I'm still binging on occasion, well, more often than not. I hate that I binge. I really do. I wish that there was a way for there to just be a stop button and that it would just, the desire to eat more would just be lifted. And that instead there would just be the desire for life on life's terms. That would be nice, and perhaps that is part of the promises here where it says, we who were once very alone, miserable, and hopeless are now happy, joyous, and free. So the solution, as according to this paragraph, is the 12 steps. And so today I'm going to start very slowly working them again and just trust that this isn't something that happens all in one day. And every little bit of work that I do, I found that even if I do like 10 minutes, it buys me another sane day. And I just have to be willing to do that work. Oh, I can just feel my body kind of cringe at the exposure and vulnerability that brings up. But it's something I'd like to give a shot. So that's where I am today, and I hope that this finds you doing well. Yeah, I guess that's what I know. So have a wonderful day, and I will look forward to talking to you soon. Bye.